And they all looked at me. They could tell who I was voting for just as easily as I could tell who they were voting for. But do you guys know what we all had in common? Not one of us, not a single one of us, looked like we felt good about what we had to do in that booth. We were just doing our goddamn duty. Yes, I voted for Hillary Clinton. Of course I did. I voted for her because I liked what she said vastly better than I liked what he said. But to be honest with you, at that point, that shit was like watching Darth Vader do the I Have a Dream speech. That bitch is mean as hell. She'd already Karate Kid swept Bernie Sanders' legs from underneath him. Boy, it was hard voting for that shit. But it was the lesser of the evils. I know you were a Clinton supporter, Miss I. I'm sorry for her. But it didn't feel as good as it should have. She was gonna be our first woman president. They were gonna make coins out of this bitch. And somehow she just missed the dunk. Of course she should have beat him. Of course she should have beat him. You know what voting for her felt like? It was bittersweet. It felt like I was lucky enough to eat Halle Berry's pussy. And whilst I was doing so, she fucking farted in my face, man. Now you understand, I'd still do it. But boy, I wish she didn't fart in this great nation's face. I voted that day, and then that same day I flew to New York City. I had work. That night I was in a comedy club in New York, and I said to an audience almost exactly what I just said to you. And I didn't know that there was a journalist in the room. And this journalist wrote an article. The headline of the article said, Dave Chappelle is an avid. Yeah, I had no idea the paper said that. And you know how I found out? My wife called me from Ohio the next morning in a goddamn panic. David, what the fuck is going on in New York? I said, I'm being good, but what have you heard? And my wife said, the paper is saying that you're a Donald Trump supporter. I was like, whew. I said, don't worry about that shit, baby. Nobody in their right mind would believe that. And she said, no, David, people believe it. And then she started reading the comments to me. Oh, they were terrible. All these black people call me all kinds of Uncle Toms and shit. I should tell you, buddy, this is a very serious allegation from one black to another. I was incensed. Uncle Tom? How am I Uncle Tom, nigga? You the one that reads the Observer? Anyway, all this shit goes down around, and now Trump is the president, and I'm hosting Saturday Night Live. And I didn't really prepare my monologue. I just kind of winged it. And at the end of the monologue, I don't even remember what I said. I said something like, you know, fuck it, we're historically disenfranchised, and we're gonna give him something about we're gonna give him a chance if he gives us a chance. I don't know what I said, but whatever I said, I really wish I didn't say that shit. It was not worth the trouble. Now I walk into the barbershop and all them black people just be looking at me like, yo, Dave, what's up with your boy? Yo, nigga, yo! Not my boy. Because I don't care if you're a Republican or Democrat, if you support him or not, any objective person is going to have to admit that this motherfucker is having a terrible go of it. It really is. We've had presidents before that have done bad jobs, but this shit is worse than a bad job. It's scary to watch. Holy shit, it's like seeing a crack pipe in your Uber driver's passengers. The fuck is wrong with this guy? Yo, he is lunching, nigga. I watched Donald Trump in a press conference, and this motherfucker had all the media gathered, and this nigga literally asked the media to their face to stop finding shit out. I was like, yo, this motherfucker is bugging. And then, I'm not even making this up, his lips started sweating. His lips. Have you ever seen a motherfucker's lip sweat? What the fuck is wrong with this nigga's lips? It's like if you're on a plane, right? You ever been on a plane? I get scared to fly. I do it all the time. I be scared on there. And sometimes the plane will hit turbulence. And then I get nervous. But I always look at the flight attendant, and she looks calm, and it makes me feel calm. But if that bitch's lips were sweating, it's terrifying. Like, yo, nigga, why are your lips sweating? What do you know? And then, I'm not even making this shit up. This motherfucker grabbed the podium, he goes, you don't know how scary the things I read in my briefings are. What's that, bro? That's bad leadership. Even as a parent, you think I'm gonna sit my kids down? Hey, little man, come here real quick. I want to holler at you for a second. Yo, I'm 3 months behind on the rent, nigga, and I am worried. Very worried. Go to school and have a productive day, nigga. I was just thinking out loud, getting some shit off my chest. Like, what the fuck are you doing, bro? This is bad, man. Jesus Christ. All this motherfucker's ideas sound like high people ideas. Like, he doesn't think these things through before he tells us. He just tells us what he's thinking as soon as it occurs to him. This shit sounds nuts. I'm gonna go to China, and I'm gonna get those jobs from China and bring them back here to America. For what, nigga? So iPhones can be $9,000? Leave that job in China where it belongs. None of us want to work that hard. What the fuck is he thinking? Because I don't want to make them shits. What the fuck are you doing? Stop trying to give us Chinese jobs. I am going to bring back coal. Coal? I'm not even exaggerating. I have never in my life even seen a fucking lump of coal. I honestly don't even know what coal is for. If you're gonna have motherfuckers digging around in the dirt looking for shit, find me some truffles, nigga. That's what I'm about. And these truffle prices are getting out of control. If it gets any worse, I'm gonna be back down to regular butter like everybody else. Terrible, terrible job. This motherfucker hit North Korea with rap battle threats. Fire and fury, like, yo, what are you doing? It's fucking Korea, man. Kim Jong-un is a scary motherfucker. He might be as crazy as Trump. Some scary shit. And if you one of them naive motherfuckers that thinks that a war with Korea is gonna be easy, then you don't play Call of Duty at 3 a.m. like I do. Because that's when the Koreans play. Fucking 8-year-old Korean kid took out my whole goddamn platoon last night. I've never seen somebody in an office so high with the most just basic fucking solutions. Like, you know, we should not let any more Muslims in the country till we can figure out what's going on. Did he just say, figure out what's going on? Who doesn't know how to do basic math? Let's count it out, okay? There's been 17 mass shootings in the United States. 4 of them were done by Muslims. None of those 4 Muslims were from any of the 7 countries in your stupid ass original band. And since he brought it up, the other 13 shootings were done by the Tiki Torch whites. These are facts. And you don't see me trying to ban white people from the show to keep it's a fucking terrible idea because it's mean and it's racist. And most importantly, it would be catastrophic to my bottom line. If there were no white people here tonight, I might leave this bitch with $1,800. This man needs to realize that we all need each other. And that's why we will never, ever be able to beat China. Because everybody in America is racist, and everybody in China is Chinese. This motherfucker called it all wrong. And don't believe the media either, because as all this shit is happening, the media is trying to make us believe that the extremities amongst us are the norms. We can disagree, that's fine. And most of us are keeping a cool head about this shit. You know what I mean? Americans generally respect one another's beliefs, even if they don't share those beliefs. I know I do. I respect everybody's beliefs except Amish people. Because they're the only ones that I can say clearly their God is wrong. The speed limit is 75 miles an hour in Ohio, and 1 lane of traffic is buggy. Nigga, your God is ridiculous. All the Amish people around my way know me too. Not from television, obviously. They know me from the streets. Because when I see them horse and buggies, I'll pull the Porsche over and talk to them. Ezekiel, are you sure that God doesn't want you to have any of this technology or this energy? Huh? Huh? I can't hear you, nigga. Let me turn this air conditioner off. What did you say? And them niggas be like, get away from me, ye. Ye tried to tempt me like the devil. Devil? Nah, bro, I'm trying to put you on to the game, Zeke. It's a big world out here, nigga. I just went 25 miles in 30 minutes. That's a day's journey for you. You don't even know what the weather's gonna be tomorrow, do you? I do. You don't even know that there's a valuable Pokemon right on here. I drive away. Huh? Oh, my vape pen? You want to hit my vape pen? Oh, sorry, nigga. I'm trying not to get herpes. My bad. I've been playing cat and mouse with herpes for 30 years now, but every night I go to the club, I'll be like, not tonight, herpes. No disrespect. I'm not saying you have herpes. I'm just saying 1 out of 5 people do. So let's just all be careful around this motherfucker and make sure that we leave with the lips we came with.
Was this in line with the relationship you had with your father?
Absolutely. My father's main thing, he would never tell me what to do, which you got to think is a strange way to grow up. His thing was you have to be able to make decisions, which is a real counterintuitive way. And sometimes I used to think it was to my detriment, but the older I get, I understand why he raised me that way. He might help me sort through the pieces, but he wouldn't really put the puzzle together.
Did he tell you he loved you?
All the time.
All the time?
In fact, yeah, that's the thing in our family. I don't think I ever leave my children's presence without letting them know I love them. Because I never know what's going to happen anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, it's the most important thing, I think, for stability is you never see a kid who was abused with that kind of confidence or a kid who was neglected with that kind of confidence. Just sometimes knowing that somebody cares inspires you and empowers you to be courageous.
Do they know the comparison of their life now versus the majority of kids and the lives they lead?
What I did for a living, I don't think factored into their lives in a way that people might think. Because we don't live in Hollywood. There's no paparazzis trying to get their picture. You know, the community protects them in that sense. And the other thing was, for most of the time I've been out here, my career was going terrible, so who cared? I knew people who walked past the roll of toilet paper because they knew they had a roll at home. So it was on our shelves longer than it was in other places. So I'm trying to tell you, community is everything, and fostering trust amongst each other, that's everything. Whatever you guys argue about the specifics, we gotta trust that there'll be a livable level of decency.
A livable level of decency, I mean, that's nirvana right there. But I worry about just what's the world gonna be? You know, is it gonna be tanks in the street, for God's sakes? Is it a civil war again? What, you know, or am I thinking too much about this? Because you think that there will be a livable level of decency.
Well, I believe that God is in control, no matter what I worry about. That only my efforts are my own, and the results have nothing to do with me. That I do what I think is best, but I just don't know what's best, because I'm just a guy. But I trust that this creation has a purpose. It proves that something perfect exists. We have to believe in something.
Right.
Otherwise, why would you continue?
But largely, the awareness that these things are out of my control, you find that comforting.
I do find it comforting. I can only do what I intend to do, you know.
But don't worry, on account of if we happen to crash into the Pacific Ocean, the seat cushions are not only seat cushions, they are also boats. Yep, they're boats. All the time, you turn on a TV and the guy goes, well, a plane crashed in the Atlantic, but it's all right. Everybody, you know, listen to the ladies, so they're all just on their boats. People are going, God damn, why did I buy that boat? I should have just got a fleet of seat cushions. I would have saved all kinds of money. You know, I've noticed lately, everybody has an opinion. And you know, when I was young, it wasn't that way, you know? People would have maybe, I don't know, 6 opinions, you know? Sometimes you meet a guy, he'd have 8 opinions. You go, God damn, that guy's opinionated. But about 6 opinions, that'd be about, and most of them were about food, you know? I would drop the mic, but I paid for it.
That was sweet, man.
Holy shit.
Tearjerker ending. Fuck.
Yep. I thought of 2 things. The first thing I thought of was I might owe Drew Michaels an apology because he made a special with no audience and I hated it. Because I looked at it like a swimming meet with no water or like, what you, like that's the whole thing. But this was very endearing. It was amazing. This.
The form is different. It's not, strictly speaking, stand-up. It's something else. And the great gift could have been to be in a room full of people when Norm did that for those people. Right. Because that would have evaluated, measured, and directed what he's talking about. And for us to sit here and look at it is not a true test of anything, really, other than we all love Norm. And my God, he's certainly prolific, certainly energetic, but we weren't watching stand-up comedy because it was impossible. But there's something there, for sure.
Oh, there's no question.
Yeah.
I also forget how poetic he is.
Yeah.
You know, with Norm, like, I didn't know him that well in the 90s. And then when my dad died, I had to do a movie with Norm. And I tried everything to get out of that movie because I was inconsolable. And I couldn't get out of it. And working with him was the greatest thing that ever happened to me. It was like he was the right guy at the right time. I was inconsolable.
Did he talk to you about your dad a lot? Or what did he do?
Never came up.
Uh-huh.
He just made me laugh.
Yeah, right.
He just, you know, and it was, you know, wistful and musing. And you know, Norm is You never knew he was setting something up or not. We were just hanging out, and all of a sudden it'd be like this punchline out of nowhere. But it started to become like a work was like a church I go to. Like I couldn't wait to get to work and just hang around this guy.
Oh, that's sweet,
And I
man.
knew he was special.
Yeah.
And I've known people for years and years that didn't make me laugh as much as he did in that 8 or 10 weeks. So he's like a real special person to me. And the way he's funny, I just never seen someone get at it like that.
Yeah.
The element that I always admired was the connection to the audience, and his asides and his looks and his pauses were interpreted exactly the way he knew they would be interpreted, and that fueled the ridiculous nature of some of the presentation. And without that audience, you don't get the full measure of
That's
Norm.
right, yeah.
It was like the audience was his partner. Everybody was in this together with Norm.
I agree. I like the way he said it. The audience was his partner.
Yeah.
That kind of felt like the gentle Norm that when you would sit and hang out after our shows on the road and we'd be on the bus with him and he'd still be being funny, he would kind of perform like that. Like he'd say his material to you, he'd kind of commit to it, but he just kept going and going and going and going. It looked like he was just like, I want to get everything out, everything I've been thinking about. Anyways.
He had I think, best word choice of maybe any comedian I've ever seen.
Yeah.
He intentionally mispronounces words.
Yeah.
When he
that's
knows, he knows how to say TV. He says it's the TV. He came on our show, I think it was his first appearance, and he was talking about a Doberman, and he said it's a Doberman, and he knows. But he's constantly screwing with you on every level.
Right.
But his word choice is, he was like Mark Twain. He had this folksy, completely out of time. And I don't know if he was born 300 years too late or 300 years too early, but he's talking in a way, no one speaks like that. And you really appreciate the way he says things and
He
his
talks
timing.
like a 1930s Canadian dock worker.
Yeah.
Does it remind you a bit of Face in the Crowd, some of the early stuff, where he is just communicating from himself to a radio audience?
Yeah.
That's what I thought of early on in this.
Yeah. You know, it's funny because when the way I experienced him as you did, Dave, was, you know, really on the talk show format. And later on, when I would look at the clips of him on my show, that I would think, I don't even know that I was there just laughing, but I was in no way, he's totally self-fueled. Yes, it's nice when you hear the audience there, but he's also, you know, what he's doing is so absurd and ridiculous. And this was an exercise in, I mean, I couldn't do that if you just put a camera there and said, you've got 50 minutes and go. I would lose my train of thought, or I need other people there for me to find the next thing. He's completely, when I look at his appearances that he did with me, I think, I didn't need to be there. Right. I mean, I'm glad I was there. I'm selfishly glad I was there. But
you need a second to think. Like I don't know if he's got a set list or there's no really looking down. There's no bumbling. There's no thing. It was just kind of go, 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 go. I didn't see where that would be, and to remember all that.
But it was the presentation, considering the circumstance, the presentation was robust, for God's sake.
Yeah.
I like
Energetic.
the messiness. I like the dog. I like
the dog in a phone call.
And you were saying that, you know, the guy without the audience, and this is just more, there was no choice. You know, it's different when he just has to do it. The other guy picked not to have an audience.
That's absolutely right, but I didn't even think it was possible.
Yeah.
And I feel like he landed the trick.
Yeah.
His timing is like a drummer's. It's like a jazz drummer.
But what would the timing have been with an audience? Still perfect?
I can't tell, you know. He's so nice with it. I feel like it looked like it was supposed to be that. I can't. It's hard to explain.
This is like listening to a good book on tape.
Yeah, it's really.
Yeah, that's good.
It reminds me of what I liked about him. He's a soothing person to be around.
Yeah, gentle.
There's something about my favorite comedy it's counterintuitive, makes people feel safe, like everything's gonna be all right. This guy was in a weird way, reconciling his mortality
Yeah.
hilariously in front of us. And ironically, he's no longer with us.
Oh,
We're sitting in the aftermath of the life of Norm Macdonald, watching like him be incredibly alive. Like he had
No, but his circumstance, he nudged into it several times,
Right.
but didn't linger.
Yeah.
And to us, from this perspective, powerfully meaningful.
Oh,
Yeah.
he definitely wanted to. I'm
Oh
sorry,
yeah.
Molly.
No, no, you go, Adam.
I was just gonna say he definitely wanted to make the point he loves his mom.
That's
Yeah.
what I
Yeah.
was gonna say.
That's a
Because it was like a
tearjerker part.
moment where you just have this glimpse where he takes a pause and he's like,
Yeah.
"She's great."
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah, absolutely.
It was so.
He's
That
talking a lot
great.
about, I mean, he's talking a lot about mortality. He's talking a lot about death. And obviously now that people, comics talk about that all the time, but it has this.
How would those have registered in front of a live audience, do you think?
not one of the suckers' mother's tits would kill.
Oh, well, that would have murdered. He had a
He went
bunch
all
of
the way
things that
around
would
the
have
barn
murdered.
for that.
Because, he went all the way. It's right. That's the right. He went all the way around the barn. He had this great way of making you. He'd plant the seed, walk all over the hill, around the silo, down to the brook. You've forgotten about it, and then he lands that again,
that's
and it's
true.
joyous. It's just joyous.
yeah.
But this form makes me so appreciate. It's what I always knew, but his face, his eyes, and his eyebrows. I always said there's something almost like a jack-o'-lantern. He's got such a great, his expressions when he's talking about after someone's completed the act, when he becomes, what am I going to do now? I'm going to have a cheese sandwich. He's such a terrific performer. I mean, he's really just got this, and he's telling the whole story like a great 1920s silent film comic.
When he smiled, I could picture him as a child.
Oh, yeah.
He is he was my senior, but he's got a boyish charm. When he laughs at his own jokes,
Him laughing is amazing.
there's something just joyful about watching it.
Does anybody know the length of time it would take him to compile an hour of material? Would that be 6 months,
He had
a year?
more material. We were on the road one time, and he would swap sets out of nowhere. He'd be like, "I'm gonna try some." He didn't even really talk about it. We'd say, "You doing this joke?" He'd be like, "Oh, I don't know
flip
about
a whole
that."
half out. Yeah,
He'd
he'd flip
flip.
the whole set.
He one time in some conversations, he goes, "I got a good 8 hours now," or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah, 8 hours.
Do you remember that Star Search bit he used to do? The scaffolding of the bit was always the same, but I never seen him do it the same twice. And he would just make up these crazy Star Search intros. Star Search. This next band's been kicking around the Miami area for the last 15 years. Give it up for overnight sensation, he'd say. And he would do that. He had a million of them. And I'd seen him do the bit a bunch of times. Never the same. The scaffolding was the same. The lyrics always changed.
He also had an infinite collection of old stories, I think probably from, rural Canada or traveling salesman stories. And I would be delighted because, he'd come out and I'd be laughing. It was the only person I could say this about. I'd be laughing before he did anything. He'd come out from behind the curtain and he's got those cheeks and those eyes. And I looked at the tape, I'm just laughing. He hasn't done anything yet. And then Norm, how are you? And he's like, bought a farm.
Yeah.
And I know immediately this is complete bullshit. And I'd say, it's the whole thing is a complete waste of everyone's time, and it's joyous.
Right.
Because
he's reveling in it.
He's reveling in every second of it.
This wife, Ruth, he keeps speaking of.
Nothing's real.
Yeah,
There's
Agnes at the desk.
Yeah.
I can remember reading his autobiography and enjoying it, but being greatly disappointed about 10 pages in when I realized it was all fantasy. I want to know about Norm's life, but this was other solar system.
We were on the road with it was Adam and Rob Schneider, Norm, and a bunch of us. And some nights he'd flip the whole set, but some nights he would do like the bomb set.
Oh, yeah.
And he would just walk people, and he would do it almost on purpose. So, some nights he would just say, "This is the set you're getting," and
He
Just
did
see
it.
what happened.
This is courtesy of Jim Downey, who did Update with Norm. Said, I mean, it's the thing that stuns me is he used to, there's dress for Saturday Night Live, and then there's air. And Norm would do his set for Update in front of the dress crowd. And there'd be certain jokes that got absolutely nothing. Now, a sketch can maybe do better on air than it did, but a joke, if it bombs at dress, in that format, it will bomb on air. It just will. So he had undisputed proof that his joke was going to bomb, but he liked the joke. And he'd turn to Downey and say, yeah, we're doing it. And Downey would say, oh, that's a great joke. Yeah, we're doing it. Now, that I like to do well. And if I'm handed absolute proof that I will fail, I will change course.
Sure.
I will admit it. I'm not that guy. There's something in him that's unbelievably fearless.
What you're describing there, when I would watch those segments, they were delightful. There was something more exciting and interesting about the silence and Norm's joy at having landed the dud.
And holding a smile.
It was thrilling. It was heroic.
He was telling us, this is a good joke, and I'm sticking with it. And his eyes would just light up when he was getting nothing. And you got what I'm serving tonight. This is what we're serving at the restaurant, and this is what you're eating, and you're gonna. There you go. Yeah, you know.
That's a perfect way to put it. It's like a master chef. What do you know? Fuck your taste buds.
The sushi restaurant where they go.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't do California rolls here.
Yeah. I just like that. Yeah, that guy is certain, and his sensibility. It's fun to watch.
You get more than a joke and a laugh. You get that tone. You get that attitude. There is that invisible connection. Yeah, we know what you're up to, Norm, and this is what we love.
It's like why rock and roll is cool. The swag of it. Like, she's just doing it. He's hip, bro. It was great.
He came on our show one time, your old studio, the late night show, and I went in just to say hi before the segment, and he's in the dressing room right outside the double doors, inconsolable, because he had bet on a big game that had just ended.
Oh, yeah.
I'm there to try and make sure that the guest is in a good mood.
Right.
We're going to have a good ramp up. And I remembered him just, that's a lot of money. And I hear the band outside. It's going to be good time show business with a man that just lost 55,000. Who knows what he lost, you know?
Recently destitute Norm Macdonald.
Exactly, yeah.
Did he give that up? Do we know?
I don't know.
I don't know 100%.
When it was him reading an excerpt from his book or his book on tape, where he describes his gambling addiction, so poetically.
Oh wow.
He talks about roulette.
Roulette.
It's a book on tape.
How hopeful it is to be he's addicted to the hope of it.
And there's no way you can talk about Norm and not, because we all know that gambling was, part of his life, and you can just, in his comedy, he's just always putting everything on 17 red or 35 red. It's like, that's amazing that it's really the same, the same thrill.
Yeah, you're right. That's interesting.
I'm not taking that,
I have a funny Norm gambling one. So, and this is everything is true. So, because some of it doesn't make sense, but we lived in the same building. I went up to visit him in his room. We come up at his apartment. That was going into his apartment was bananas as it is. But we're having a nice time, and I say, "You got any soda?" And I open up his fridge, and I swear to God, $25,000 worth of chips. Atlantic City chips are in his fridge, and I go, "What's this?" He goes, "Oh, I won big. I won big on Friday." And I said, well, why did you cash it in, buddy? He goes, well, I brought it here so I could talk to Bernie Brillstein to see how I don't have to pay taxes on it. So I go, oh, and he goes, yeah, so I'm going to bring it back Monday. And he told me no matter what, I got to pay taxes. So you know, it didn't work out there. So whatever, I go, oh, that sucks. So anyways, I see him at Saturday Night Live on Monday. I go, did you cash that in? He goes, I lost it all.
We go down the elevators, and they have limos for us for the SNL to go to the after party. So we get in them, and then Max, the guy, goes, "Oh yeah, Norm sometimes takes us to Atlantic City." So he just skips the party. They go right there.
Yeah,
and that
yeah.
Monday he comes back. He said the same thing. He goes, he keeps chips in his refrigerator because no one looks in the fridge if they're robbing him.
Oh,
That was another.
Wow, that's ingenious.
Better than the Bernie.
That's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Wow.
Man, you guys are lucky to get to work with them that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a few people in my career that it's like why I go to the fights if I know Mayweather's fighting or something, because I know this guy is great and he's only got but so many fights in him. This guy.
I was gonna say I really liked him right away. I just saw him. I felt like I understood him a different way, and I felt like deep down he was actually very, very shy. You know?
Oh yeah.
Right? Don't you
Very
think?
shy.
And sweet.
And so sweet.
Yeah, and nice about talked about your parents a lot. He loved his dad more than anything. He talked about his dad a lot. Loved his mom, his brother, his very
and deeply
his boy.
So sensitive. I was saying, so when you lost your dad, Dave, and you were talking about that, I'm sure he really was like wanting to make you feel so good and so sweet and thoughtful, and probably thought deeply about that. That's how he would approach it to kind of.
It seemed very thoughtful
Right.
and wildly, disarmingly empathetic. It's very rare that I meet somebody in a professional situation that made me put my dukes down like that. Like defenseless again. Like, oh, this guy doesn't have an ounce of judgment in him unless it's hilarious. Unless it's hilarious.
Yeah.
And Dave, when does that movie come out?
I remember when you did that movie. I remember that.
And the irony, I really did try to get out of it, but I couldn't imagine my life without having done it or getting to spend that time with him.
Do we know if he did any of this material in front of an audience?
We knew some from that tour. That tour was right before Corona. I think it was about.
Remember the day before the lockdown, Norm had some set that went viral. It was a cookie jar dunk. I remember like me and my buddies in Ohio were all like, "Yo, did you see this Norm Macdonald set?" It was on YouTube, probably still on there. He destroyed. And he even
right. At the Improv, right, when he talked about the pandemic.
It was a
incredible
cookie jar dunk. And you could tell it was off the rip. And it was all that, all the anxiety that the day before the whole world goes into lockdown.
Yeah.
And he was just on some fuck it. And it felt so good. Again, it made me feel like everything's gonna be fine.
Well, if he were alive and we're doing this show that we watched tonight somewhere in front of 200, 300, 400 people, killer, standing O, what would be the impact?
Well,
here?
yeah, the question to me is, I mean, he's touching on some third rail stuff, and it really depends on
he didn't have to leave on a big laugh. So he would go on. Some of his shit would murder.
Yeah.
Some of his shit would eat it. Some people would be like get annoyed, upset that he said it, and then like most of us, you go, all right, let me get out of this fucking hole and come up with a big joke because I'm about to get off. He'd go, all right, let's keep going down and we'll get out on that.
I'm certain of this 25 minutes of this would kill.
Yeah.
Which would probably be about, with laughs, add water, 35, 38 minutes, easy.
You'd have notes. You'd have people saying,
Well, if you
don't
try
want
to
be
practice it, plus like cannibal stuff, or when he says it gets on red, I go, fuck, so close.
Yeah.
But all those, there's some stuff that's for sure laugh lines that would work anywhere, and then he pulls you away from it for a while, and then and they're trickier stuff. It's trickier to figure it out, and he would lose some people.
It's hard to separate. I buy it. You know what I mean? Like I'm in.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's like watching a 4-hour Mooney set at a certain point. It's like I'm just invested in this as an experience.
That's true.
And it's really hard to separate myself from that.
And it's fun to watch him acknowledge what would be the silence.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I
yeah.
could see.
Oh, and enjoy it.
Yeah, and
Enjoy it.
I could see in his mind there was a crowd there. He was anticipating this crowd, and which reminds me again, this guy was very deliberate in how he approached this, because it does seem like jazz, but it's very methodical.
It's funny because he's, you know, all I've ever heard about Norm is that I think he was the most widely read comedian, very widely read, highly intelligent. I think a great, you know, great mathematician. I mean, things that you would never think. He was talented in all these areas. And choosing, you know, what's my diction? What's my word going to be? What's the right word here?
Oh, yeah,
And what's
yeah.
it exactly going to be? So you get this, because he seems reckless, but he's also ruthlessly planned everything out and thought it through.
Yeah.
And they don't seem to go together, but with him, they do.
Yeah.
What was his, I'm sorry, Molly.
Oh,
go
I
ahead.
was going to say before, I think in the last, 13, 14 years, he got, you know, as you said, Conan, he was reading 4 or 5 books at a time, Russian literature. Mark Twain was his favorite author. He loved Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. but he got really into reading about God and Christianity.
Oh, yeah,
And
yeah.
really wanting to understand God.
Where he's headed.
Feeling maybe
Yeah.
close
Crawling.
to death.
Yeah, yeah,
or
sure.
thinking about death, but really, really wanting to understand God.
I don't know how everyone else felt here, but Norm was sick for quite a while, and he got sicker, and I didn't know, and I talked to so many people who I was sure knew. I thought maybe I'm the only one that doesn't know, and so many people, he didn't want anybody to know.
I didn't know.
And so, you know, being the self-absorbed person I am, I think a lot of us, we thought, is he mad at me? Is there something I
Yeah.
did?
Sure.
Because we kept trying to get him to come back on, and we couldn't. He couldn't do it because I don't think he was up for it, and he didn't want to answer questions about maybe, you know, his appearance or anything. But I remembered
Yeah.
when he went, everybody in the community we all thought we were the only one that didn't know, and we were so upset that we didn't get a chance to tell him what he meant to us. And then it was very quickly realized he would not have tolerated that. He didn't
Yeah.
want it.
Oh, right,
He didn't
yeah.
want any of us to tell him.
He'd get grossed out.
He'd get very
I think
unhappy.
it's treat him different or laugh at
Yeah,
his
you,
jokes.
you reflect on experiences you had with him during the time he was ill and wondered if that had manifested itself because of the illness.
Right.
I'm curious as to what his process was, if you knew how he wrote.
My experience was so chaotic. You know, I thought this guy is Evel Knievel. He's going to jump Snake River Canyon. He doesn't care. But he put a ton of work into what he was doing and worked it out a lot of the time. So I don't know what that process was, but I mean, this really impressed me with how self-contained it is
Yeah.
and how
He
certainly-
scribbled a lot of stuff down all the time. He was just like most comedians. He's constantly writing his jokes down. But
It's a lot of work. No laughs. A lot of work.
yeah,
He
It's funny
said,
that
you said something that reminded me. I don't know what story he was telling me, but the story was, in the beginning of the story, he's telling me he used to go to this Christian revival church. And he goes, I didn't really believe any of this stuff. I go, then why'd you go? And I love what he said. I don't even remember what he was talking about. He goes, because it made me feel good. And the last time I saw him was at the Comedy Store. And he was uncharacteristically emotional.
yeah.
Like when we parted company, he was. And there's a picture of me and him and like the back of Chris Rock's head. I put it in my special. That picture that's in the end of the closer was the last time that I saw him.
Wow.
And he stood there. He came up, he stood behind me. I looked, he said, hey, he looked up. And I realized he was posing for the picture in hindsight. Like a gift.
That's nice.
It was a very fitting goodbye.
That is so sweet, Dave.
Yeah.
Hey, man, what about when he was emotional and saying goodbye to you on the show?
At the time when, and like Conan suggests, I didn't know he was ill, so surprised. In thinking about that moment, he must have known a great deal about what his future was and how long it might have been. I always took it as an enormous compliment that my emotional situation had affected him.
Right.
But now, to be fair, this guy knew more than just I was leaving.
Well, he was crazy about you. I mean, we
Yeah,
were
yeah,
talking
he-
about it.
absolutely.
That's very
Yeah,
I
sad.
saw him
that-
on your show once, and he said, "I've seen more sunsets than I will ever see." He said that to you on his show. And
Yeah.
it hits your head different. I'm sorry to interrupt, though.
No, that's okay. I probably cut him off and said, we got to get to Al Roker now. He probably was about to say something very profound, and I'm like, that's great, Norm. Al Roker's here. He came up 3 floors to be with us tonight, and he's got nothing. Al Roker.
I was saying I saw him at the SNL 40th, and I didn't know he had cancer or anything, but I remember as soon as he saw me, he was like, "I love you, Molly." Just he blurted out right away, and I think I was like, oh, I just had a sense of like, I could feel that he had this kind of urgency to say exactly what was on his mind in the moment,
Right.
because maybe he'll never have that moment again. And I was like, oh, something's different with Norm.
The last time I saw him with any regularity was we all went on a tour to do just stand up. Like
The 3 of you guys.
it was
I had a
even
couple other guys.
funny because we had a text chain of a bunch of us, and
Oh, yeah,
we would
we had
all
a
fuck
text
around.
chain. Yeah, yeah.
And then one time he was arguing with Schneider about something and about stand up, and he goes, "I'm the best comic out of all of us," and everyone went, "Yeah."
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
No one fought back. They go,
Yeah,
"Okay."
yeah, you're right.
We'll give you
Yeah,
that
I
one.
think that's fair.
Yeah, it was
honestly.
fair.
Yeah.
And we go, sure. But he was, what the nice thing is we were flying around or on the bus or backstage. He would come in and do bits. He wanted to keep, I like that, when people are still funny and he's a good laugher. And that's always nice when
yeah.
a comic is a good laugher too, instead of just only going one way with it. They like to crack up with people. And that was a fucking blast. Did you wear a cowboy hat the whole time? Like
Yeah, he bought a cowboy
Smokey the
hat, and
Mannequin
all of a sudden,
Norm,
cowboy hat,
Yeah, it's
walking
so
around.
weird, yeah. Like
He would do that
on
thing.
stage, he would
He,
sit
he sometimes would sit.
We do a
Sometimes
Q&A.
he'd be late in the morning because we're all taking off, and I would just go, "Hey, no, man, we got to get to this place," and he'd give me a look, and then after he passed away, then I realized he was giving me a look like, "What the fuck do you want from me? I'm going through some shit, man." But he'd be like, "Yeah, all right,"
But never any deeper knowledge of it than that?
never anything.
Yeah.
Never let you
Wow.
know anything. He did get emotional a lot, though. Like on the whole tour, he would just all of a sudden get really teary-eyed and stuff, and he'd be like, "This is wonderful!" Like this, the tour itself, and like hanging out, and we'd have dinners and breakfasts and shit. And he was more. He'd just be so much fun to see. He had so much energy to hang.
The
He was
hard part
happy.
about not telling people, which it would worry me a little bit, is I got slightly angry because during the thing he would set up dinners with me and he would keep canceling, and I didn't know if it was a bit but it got frustrating because I go, if you're scared of a corona, just come over to the house and just be me and you. We'll sit across or whatever. Yeah, that's what I want. I like just a good night with Davey. And then he goes, and then that night I go, where? He goes, I can't. It's COVID. I go, I know, but we just talked about this. And then a week later, do you want to have dinner? And I go, biting the fucking hook. But I don't even know if it was I think he would maybe think about it, and then he'd go, I don't feel good or something. But later, I was getting irritated because I'm like, you can come over. I didn't know what was going on, but if I did, of course, I'd go, whatever you want,
But I'm a little like that because I would love to have dinner with each of you, but it'll never happen.
We've all tried. We've all tried.
I must tell you, I've never had a problem with white people ever in my life. But full disclosure, the poor whites are my least favorites. We've gotten a lot of trouble out of them. And I'd never seen so many of them up close. I looked them right in their coal-smeared faces. And to my surprise, you know what I didn't see? I didn't see one deplorable face in that group. I saw some angry faces and some determined faces, but they felt like decent folk. No, they did. In fact, I'm not even lying, and I didn't sound fucked up, but I felt sorry for him. I know the game now. I know that rich white people call poor white people trash. And the only reason I know that is because I made so much money last year, the rich whites told me they say it at a cocktail party. And I'm not with that shit. And I stood with them in line like all of us Americans are required to do in a democracy. Nobody skips the line to vote. And I listened to them. I listened to them say naive, poor white people things. Man, Donald Trump's gonna go to Washington and he's gonna fight for us. I'm standing there thinking to my mind, you dumb motherfucker. You are poor. He's fighting for me. It's like that white black bitch that's in the news all the time. Rachel Dolezal. She always says that. She's a white woman, but then she dressed up like a nigga and shot her way up to the very top of blackness. But how far is Rachel willing to go? What is Rachel willing to do so that we blacks can believe that she believes she's actually one of us? Bitch, are you willing to put a lien on your house so that you can invest in a mixtape that probably won't work out? She didn't even change her name. Didn't even change her name. Her name is Rachel. I can't believe in that name. If you want my support, you're gonna have to change your name to the blackest shit I've ever heard. Bitch, you're gonna have to change your name to Draymond Green. I don't know a blacker name than that. That shit is black on paper. If you type Draymond Green into Airbnb, that shit will log off automatically. Tonight I'm gonna do something that I'm not particularly good at, but that I like to do. Tonight I'm gonna try some impressions out. I only got two. All right, the first impression's kind of dumb, but I like it. This is my impression. You ready? This is my impression of the founding fathers of America when the Constitution was being written. You ready? Here it goes. Hurry up and finish that Constitution, nigger. I'm trying to get some sleep. It's not bad, right? All right, the next one. The next one's a little harder. I want to see if you can guess who it is I'm doing an impression of. All right, let me get into character. You gotta guess who it is, though. Okay, here it goes. Hey, if you do anything wrong in your life, and I find out about it, I'm gonna try to take everything away from you. And I don't care when I find out. Could be today, tomorrow, 15, 20 years from now. If I find out, you're fucking finished. Who's that? That's you. That's what the audience sounds like to me. That's why I don't be coming out doing comedy all the time, because y'all niggas is the worst motherfuckers I've ever tried to entertain in my fucking life.
It's great to be here tonight. So thank you very much for your participation. Oh, Jesus! What the holy crap? Oh,
I'm sorry, I thought I saw a guy coming up here. It's just a waiter? Oh, I'm so sorry. It's just been a little alarming, you know what I mean? Let's get one thing straight. In deference to the other performers tonight, and by the way, now we're talking about a comedy festival because we have comics coming out for you tonight, and that's a tremendous idea. In deference to the people coming out here, let me just say this. When the show is finished, I will be in the lobby. And if anybody wants to come and beat me up, by God, come on out. How many of you would like to hit me right now?
I'm so good at writing jokes, and this is not even an exaggeration. I actually write jokes backwards. I will write a punchline with no particular setup in mind. I just put it on a scrap of paper, and I'll throw that scrap of paper in my fishbowl. I have a fishbowl in my house filled with random punchlines. And every once in a while, I'll shake the bowl, and I'll dig in there and just pull one out and see if I can make that shit work. And I picked one for this special. It's not an easy punchline to pull off. Are you ready? Yeah. Here it goes. The punchline is, so I kicked her in the pussy. I haven't finished the joke yet. I just know whatever happens in the beginning of the joke, at the end of the joke, for some reason, I'm gonna kick somebody in the pussy. And it's going to be hilarious. You know, when I was growing up, I was probably about 8 years old, and at the time, we were living in Silver Spring. Yeah. Yes. Common misconception about me in D.C., a lot of people think I'm from the hood. That's not true. But I never bothered to correct anybody because I wanted the streets to embrace me. As a matter of fact, I kept it up as a ruse. Like sometimes I'll hang out with rappers like Nas and them, and these motherfuckers will start talking about the projects. Yo, it was wild in the PJs, yo. And I'll be like, word, nigga, word. But I don't know. I have no idea. My parents did just well enough so that I could grow up poor around white people. And to be honest, when Nas and them talk about the projects, nigga, I used to get jealous because it sounded fun. Everybody in the projects was poor, and that's fair. But if you were poor in Silver Spring, nigga, it felt like it was only happening to you. I know the pain of that first sleepover at a white friend's house. And you come back home on Sunday and just look at your parents like, y'all need to step your game up. Everything at Timmy's house works. Remember the first time you saw that? In a cold winter, and you'd be at a white friend's house and see the motherfuckers in their living room without their coats on? Timmy was one of my first white friends, like, in my life, man. He was a good dude, too. He moved to Silver Spring from Utah, of all places. I guess his family was affiliated with that Mormon church they got down there. And me and him used to hang out. And one day I was at his house, we were just hanging out, and Timmy says, Dave, why don't you stay for dinner tonight? I said, oh, man, I'd love to, but I can't. If I'm not home before dark, my mother will kill me. That was a lie. My mother had several jobs. I hadn't seen her in like 3 or 4 days. At that point in my life, it was my experience that white dinner wasn't delicious. I'd rather go home and fry some bologna or some shit like that. But then old Timmy threw me a curveball I wasn't expecting. He said, it's too bad you can't stay, Dave, because Mom made stovetop stuffing. I said, what the fuck, stovetop? Well, hold on, nigga. Let me make some phone calls real quick. I had seen that commercial so many times, I had dreamt of getting my hands on some of that stovetop stuffing. And finally, I met a motherfucker that actually had a box of stovetop in the house. I couldn't miss this opportunity, so I pretended to call my mother. And then I came back and I said, Timmy, you're not gonna believe this great news. Mom said I can stay. And he said, fantastic. He said, why don't you come with me and we'll help set the table and then we can say the blessing. I had no interest in setting this motherfucker's table or saying these crazy ass Mormon prayers. I just wanted that goddamn stuffing. My hands first. My plan was simple. Wash my hands slowly, and by the time I'm done, the table will be set, the blessing will be said, and all that there will be left to do is eat. Went to the bathroom. I washed my hands very slowly. I must have been in there for about 10 minutes. And suddenly, one of his mothers came to the door. She was like, hi, David, right? I said, yes, ma'am. She said, Timmy tells me that you're planning on staying for dinner. I said, I hope that's not a problem, ma'am. She says, no, it's no problem. In fact, we'd love to have you. It's just that we weren't expecting company. And I'm afraid there's not enough stovetop stuffing for everybody. So I kicked her in the pussy. Bam! Ladies and gentlemen, I told you I'm dope, nigga. I told you what I was gonna say and you still didn't see it coming. And that's why I make the big bucks. Oh my God. But there's a more important reason that I would stop doing comedy right now. And this reason is the real reason that's been percolating, and it really is the crowd, not you. I'm talking about the crowd on the big stage. It's too hard to entertain a country whose ears are so brittle. Motherfuckers are so sensitive, the whole country is turned into bitch-ass niggas. Everything you say upsets somebody. You know, I can remember when it all started. It was when I was doing Chappelle's show. When I was doing Chappelle's show, I used to do the show, and then on the weekends, I do like concerts and shit like that. So I'm doing a concert, and there was a couple in the front row, beautiful couple. The wife was obviously Asian. You could see it in her face. The husband, this motherfucker was mysterious, to say the least. Couldn't quite pinpoint where he was from. Caramel-colored fella, very nice hair, but he could have been from anywhere. Bangladesh, Mexico. I can't guess with a nigga like this. All I knew for sure about this guy is that his wife was a bitch. I could see that in her face, too. No, he was laughing and having a good time, and she was scowling at me at a goddamn comedy show. I couldn't figure it out. And then I realized at some point that she was pregnant, and I was smoking on stage. I said, oh my God, that's probably why she's mad. So I started to put my cigarette out, but then she hit me with one of them fake non-smoker calls. So I just kept smoking. I thought to myself, bitch, that babe will be fine, relax. And I tried to break the tension. I just asked her. That's all I said. I go, hey, where are you guys from anyway? And I could tell that she was on to me. She goes, very condescendingly, she says, I'm from California. If you're asking my ethnicity, I am Chinese. He was like, I'm Mexican, bro. I said, well, I'm sorry if I offended you by asking, but but you're a very beautiful couple. And miss, there's no question that you're gonna give birth to the hardest working baby this world has ever seen. That's not a bad joke. She got very upset. She got up to leave immediately, but she didn't just leave. She had to take one last dig at me on the way out. I will never buy one of your fucking DVDs again, Dave Chappelle. I said, ma'am, with all due respect, Chinese people don't buy DVDs. And the crowd went crazy. We were all laughing, having a good time. I didn't even think anything of it. And then just 3 days later, this lady sends a fucking letter to my promoter telling him not to book me for shows anymore because I was, quote, racist, and I'm quoting her, insensitive to the nature of my interracial marriage. I was like, word, bitch, I was. If she would know that I myself am in an interracial marriage. That's right. In fact, my wife is Asian too. Surprise, bitch, I'll see you on Thanksgiving. But my wife's not Chinese. She's Filipino. That's right. And our kids are Puerto Rican somehow, so there you go. But I don't give a fuck about interracial marriage. In fact, you know what? My mother is half white. A lot of people don't know that. Well, all right, you were a little too excited, but okay. A lot of people don't believe me when I say that, but it's true. You can't tell looking at me, but if I grew my hair out, you would think you was at a fucking Cat Williams concert. My shit is beautiful.